Okay, welcome to the Tuesday, March 5th, 2024, regular city council meeting. Would you please join me for Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we go into the meeting, into the roll call, I just want to read, as a reminder, the general rules for public participation at an Evansdale council meeting. First and foremost, take a moment to silence your cell phones. John?
It says that.
No. Yeah, it does actually say that. At the chair presider's direction, you may address an item on the current agenda by standing, and after recognition by chair presider, state your name, address, and group affiliation. And we would like you to come up to the podium anytime that you would like to state something. You may speak one time per current agenda-related item for a maximum of 3 minutes. If there is a public hearing scheduled as part of an agenda item, the chair presider will allow everyone who wishes to address the council using the same participation guidelines found in the general rules. Although not required by City Code of Ordinances, oral presentation may be allowed at the chair presider's, usually the mayor or the mayor pro tem, discretion. The discussion section of the agenda is your opportunity to address items not on the agenda or on the agenda, using the same participation guidelines found in these general rules. Keep comments germane and refrain from personal, impertinent, and slanderous remarks. All comments and remarks will be directed to the council and mayor. At no time is it appropriate to direct remarks or comments to other audience members. Last couple meetings, we got a little bit out of control, folks. So we need to kind of rein that in. Number 3 is roll call, please.
Morris. Weir.
Yes.
Smock.
Here.
Clements.
Here.
DeWater.
Yes.
Number 4, approval of the March 5th, 2024 agenda.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So we have a special service, years of service appreciation tonight for Mr. John Peveril. John, if none of you know, has served for 18 long years on our Planning and Zoning Commission. Has brought a lot to the table, has had a lot of ideas, and has been there, which is the number one important thing, is to show up. So, John, I just want to tell you my appreciation. I really do appreciate your service, like the rest of us do here. Yeah, I'd like that. You want to do it? Can I get a picture with you?
A mug shot.
We'll have you sign the waiver later, John.
Yeah, I keep won't guarantee the camera.
Okay.
Aw.
Who are you kids?
He normally does like me.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sandy. At this time will be public discussion. It's open to the public to comment on non-agenda or agenda items. Please come up to the podium, state your name and your address.
Make it short, sweet, 3 minutes. I just had a couple questions I'd like clarification on that never quite got clarified last meeting. Can you tell me, my first question would be is how much money do we have for the Lafayette Road construction project right now today? if we had to cut a check, how much do we have? I know the 1.7 is a federal aid from years ago. On my budget from last year, the only reason I'm bringing this up, Mayor, is I asked you, what about the money in the current budget? And you said, Steve, that's money we're working on. And in last year's budget and the year before, it shows under the current budget of 2.730, $2,730,000, which most of it is for the, I'm telling you, 2,600,000. So I'm confused, how much money is in the fund at this time. I've had a lot of people calling me, wanting to know what is the total fund right now that we have. And at the last meeting, I also heard you talk that you're looking for revenue. You don't quite know where things are going.
No, it was just an opportunity to apply for additional revenue.
How much money are we short?
We're doing the project at 6.9 million. We have 1.7 million from DOT funding,
Okay.
and we're bonding for the rest. With the exception of the total cost of engineering, road use is paying for that.
So we don't have any money besides the federal grant right now, except for what we're gonna borrow, the 6.5 million.
Right, but that isn't going just towards the Lafayette Road project. That's also going towards the Eagles Landing infrastructure project.
Then why, my only question for FYI purposes is why does it show on the budget then last year of 2,600,000 for Lafayette Road construction, and you're telling me tonight that there is no money in that fund?
That was just budgeting an expense, Steve. We were just budgeting an expense for when the project started, which was supposed to be in the spring. So you budget the expense and you budget the revenue, because those are what's gonna come in. We had always intended as the city to bond for Lafayette Road.
Right, I understood that.
Yeah, it's just, that we thought we were gonna start in the spring, that's why it was in the budget.
And can you give me the percentage breakdown on the loss? Is it 60, 20, 20? For what you, I mean, there's a property
50,
tax
30,
relief.
20.
Huh?
50, road use,
Okay,
30, employee benefits, 20, capital projects.
that's all I had to ask. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. And you did it in 2 minutes and 45 seconds. Anyone else would like to address the council and the mayor this evening? Okay, we'll be moving on. Number 7, approval of the consent agenda. May I have a motion to approve, please?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 8 is approval of the resolution calendar. I have a motion to approve that.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I'm sorry, that's a roll call.
Morris, Weir,
Yes.
Smock,
Yes.
Clements,
Yes.
DeWater.
Yes.
Number 9 is we are holding a public hearing on proposal to enter into a general obligation loan agreement. At this time, you may come up to the podium if you have any questions regarding this, and state your name and your address. Or if council has any questions, this would be a good time to discuss that as well.
This, just to clarify, this goes towards Eagles Landing and Lafayette, both.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Anyone else this evening?
John Beverly, 543 East End. I'm just wondering how close to the maximum amount the city can loan are we getting to now? Are we getting up there pretty high?
Well, with our financial advisors, we can't go more than 80% of what is legal to bond for. So that's where we're gonna be at.
Right at 80%. So we're on the top of the lake, okay?
The top of the, yep.
So what do we do if something major come up?
Well, we actually have, I think it's 2.3? Yeah, we actually have 2.3 million in the general fund, which is the best position the city has been in for years. At one point, back in 2013, we were down to 200,000 in the general fund. So if there was a major catastrophe, we would have those funds available if we needed them. Anybody else?
Steve, 0413 Evansdale. You made the comment 80% to be bonded. This is questions, this is not interrogation.
Sure. I'm-
Last year, as a council member, we got the sheets from Maggie from Spear Financial, so I can understand this. In the year we were in, it showed us at remaining debt capacity, not obligated, 7.8 million.
Okay.
My question to you as the mayor, if we're gonna borrow 6.5 million, do I understand it right? The 6.5 goes on top of this 7,800,000.
It would be included in that, so 6.5 million, the max is 7.8 million. That would put us at our 80%. So we would still have bonding capacity, but we're not gonna need to bond for anything else at this time.
But we'd pretty much be at our limit once this geo bond comes
That,
through.
that's not our limit, that's 80%.
Right, but that's
I
all
mean,
we
we
can
could
go
go
at, right?
above that if we had to, we just would never choose to, I don't believe.
Do you know the procedure you do that if it went above 80%? Is that a mayor decision, or is that a council mayor decision, is that a financial person's decision?
It's everybody's decision,
Would that be a public hearing or something if it went over that?
absolutely.
Okay, thanks, Mayor, I appreciate your time.
Yeah. And just for the record, you have to have a public hearing anytime the city does any kind of bonding.
Right, I understand that. Thank you.
Yeah. You betcha. Anyone else? Okay, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing, and we'll go into line item 10, Resolution 6804, taking additional action on proposed to enter into a general obligation loan agreement.
So moved?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Morris. Weir.
Yes.
Clements.
Yes, here.
Smock.
Yes.
DeWater.
Yes.
Okay, number 11 is public hearing on proposed amendment to the Home Acres Urban Renewal Area. The urban renewal area for Home Acres will be utilizing that for Lafayette Road. The other, just so you know, the other 50%, because it's just about even, will be bonded for road use. So road use will be paying that debt back. Any questions regarding the proposed amendment to the Home Acres Urban Renewal Area? Okay. Move on to number 12, Resolution 6805, to declare the necessity and establish an urban renewal area pursuant to Section 403.4 of the Iowa Code and approve urban renewal plan amendment for the Home Acre Urban Renewal Area.
So moved?
I move passage of 6805.
Okay. And then you second?
Yes.
Okay. Roll call?
Weir.
Yes.
Smock.
Yes.
Clements.
Yes.
DeWater.
Yes.
Okay. Number 13 is public hearing on proposed amendment to the East Heights Urban Renewal Area. And the East Heights Urban Renewal Area is Eagles Landing, and that's the infrastructure project as part of our agreement with Quickstar, that we were gonna just go to phase 2 of the infrastructure that we had already planned as a city. We're probably just doing it a little bit sooner than we thought, but it's a good thing moving forward with this project and welcoming Quickstar to our neighborhood for the truck center. Okay, any comments regarding that? Okay. As soon as possible. Yep. Number 14 is Resolution 6806 to approve urban renewal plan amendment for the East Heights Urban Renewal Area.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Weir.
Yes.
Smock.
Yes.
Clements.
Yes.
DeWater.
Yes.
Number 15, Resolution 6807 to approve 2024 camping fees.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Weir,
Yes.
Smock,
Yes.
Clements,
Yes.
and DeWater.
Yes.
Number 16, Resolution 6808, amending sewer utility deposit rates. And the reason we're doing this is because we are going to be increasing our sewer rates for the wastewater treatment plant. So the deposit is to build a recoup. I believe it's probably 1 month of fees for that purpose. There was I do want to just slightly amend that resolution. It states in the resolution currently that upon passage of this resolution, but actually it's going to be effective July 1st, 2024, when the new rates go into effect. So it's going to be as amended, effective July 1st.
I move to accept.
Second it.
Roll call, please.
Weir,
Yes.
Smock,
Yes.
Clements.
Yes.
DeWater.
Yes.
Number 17 is Resolution 6809, directing the assessment of unpaid weed, mowing, yard cleanup, and sump pump surcharge fees.
I move passage of Resolution 6809.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Weir,
Yes.
Smock,
Yes.
Clements,
Yes.
DeWater.
Yes.
Request from mayor to enter into an annual heating cooling maintenance agreement for both the Evansdale City Hall, Evansdale Community pardon me? Request from mayor to enter an annual heating cooling maintenance agreement for both the Evansdale City Hall, Community Response Center, and also the Public Works Department in the amount of $4,026.75. We have been in a service agreement with another company, in the Cedar Valley, and we had an issue here recently with one of our overhead units on the library side that the heat exchanger had gone bad. Heat exchangers were full of rust holes, et cetera. That's not a healthy place to be. And we had 2 services within the Cedar Valley that had looked at these units within the last 6 months. So we're concerned. I did call Air Services out here just to give us a quote. They're the ones that currently service the Community Response Center units and have done a good job for us. It kind of got brought up when our other company that we had a maintenance agreement with called, and I just don't think that would be in the city's best interest to continue with them. So they did recommend the 50 hours because we use quite a few hours down at the Community Response Center annually. And we already had it in our budget to do the heat pump exchange, so those hours for labor are going to be at a discounted rate.
When was the current agreement up, Mayor? Or was it already?
Do you remember what he said? I don't remember. I think it's probably this spring though.
Okay.
I mean, we're not going to double up on,
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure
Yeah.
there wasn't a ton of overlap. I don't mind a month or two, but, once
Yeah.
6 months.
So this would begin in July 1st?
this would actually begin as soon as the other one is,
Okay.
yeah. As the other one is expired, and I will look at that to ensure.
I move approval of the request in the amount of $4,026.75.
Second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 19, request from Cedar Valley Youth Sports Association for funds in the amount of $2,500 as budgeted for FY '24.
Make a motion to approve that request.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Did
No.
they get that last year?
Yes.
Because they hadn't been getting it for,
It hadn't been budgeted though, so we only gave them 2,000.
yeah.
Then we started budgeting again for this budget year, FY '24. So they're doing a really good job. They're making a lot of improvements and will be continuing to make improvements. So it's been a really quite great for our city to move forward with this new association. Number 20 is request from mayor to approve annual agreement with People Service in the amount of $15,301 a month, as we have budgeted already for FY '25. And this actually does go into effect on May 1st, because that was their original agreement. But as part, this is actually approving the increase, because our original agreement, which was back in, I want to say 2020, was it 2020 or 2021? Okay. Was a 5-year contract that we signed, so. Right, yeah.
I move approval of the request for People's Service in the amount of $15,301 per month.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 21, request to approve 3-year agreement with City Laundry for all City Hall, Library, and Waterworks mat service. We signed a new one this past year, back in the winter of '23. That was just a 1-year agreement. So this is a 3-year agreement, needed to come to council. The only thing we get from them are mats for the office, so.
Motion to approve the 3-year agreement with City Laundry.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 22, ordinance 698, approving wastewater increase over a 5-year period in its 3rd reading.
I move passage of ordinance 698.
Second.
Okay, roll call on that, please.
Weir,
Yes.
Smock,
Yes.
Clements,
Yes.
Dewater.
Yes.
And we will, since we have passed the 3rd reading and it has been approved, I will take a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Motion,
Got the first and second girls there. Roll call, please.
Weir,
yes.
Smock,
Yes.
Clements,
Yes.
Dewater.
Yes.
Ordinance 699, reducing the size of the Planning and Zoning Commission Board from 7 members to 5 members in its 2nd reading.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Weir,
Yes.
Smock,
Yes.
Clements,
Yes.
Dewater.
Yes.
Okay, we have passed the 2nd reading on that, ordinance 699. 24 ordinance 700, approving changes to park regulations in its 2nd reading.
I'd move passage of resolution, or ordinance 700.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Weir,
Yes.
Smock,
Yes.
Clements,
Yes.
Dewater.
Yes.
Excellent.
Can we waive the 3rd reading and approve it tonight and adopt?
You can motion to waive the 3rd reading.
I move that we waive the 3rd reading.
Second it.
Let's do a roll call.
Weir,
Yes.
Smock,
Yes.
Clements,
Yes.
Dewater.
Yes.
Okay, 3rd reading is waived. Now I'll take a motion to adopt ordinance 700 park regulations.
So moved.
Second it.
Roll call, please.
Weir,
Yes.
Smock,
Yes.
Clements,
Yes.
Dewater.
Yes.
Okay, 25, ordinance 701, amending solid waste control regulations in its 1st reading. We've been talking about this, for several months, and this is about, there's one portion of this particular ordinance that states, and it's in chapter 105 of this ordinance, and it's 105, section 6. How it formerly read was all yard waste shall be separated by the owner or occupant from all other solid waste accumulated on the premises and shall be composted, burned, or on the premises or deposited at the city's compost facility. We are moving forward to take the word burn out of that 105.06 of our code. We have also added, there's several different things we've added, but we've also added prohibited practices. The prohibited practice that we added are, number 5 is burn barrels, burn solid waste in any burn barrel or other type of container, meaning burn barrels in this city will be prohibited. Number 6 is landscape waste. Landscape waste will be prohibited to burn any landscape waste and our yard waste. I talked to some of the council members regarding that. They had some other ideas or suggestions. Sandy, if you want to go into those.
One thought that I had is, since the remaining options for people would be to either take their leaves and grass clippings and so on down to the yard waste site, or compost, do we need any more language in another sentence or two concerning composting, such as requiring a compost container?
I don't think so. I've
Did-
been
how-
composting my leaves for 30 years. And my neighbors haven't complained.
Okay.
And I use a skid loader. It's that big of a compost pile.
Yeah.
So,
I know one of my neighbors has one of the tumblers in their yard, and there's never been a question of odor coming from it, and they compost all the time.
Any thoughts on that?
on composting?
Yeah. I mean, I know you're an advocate.
Yeah, I fully encourage it. It's not a big deal.
Right.
I mean, I compost coffee ground, any biodegradable vegetable matter is composted. And my neighbors bring their leaves and grass. It's a win-win. Then I end up with like a ton of dirt every couple of years. So it's great, and I totally encourage it.
And you just have it in an open section in the backyard, right?
So the only thing, I like the burn ban. But I have some wild native grass that I burn off. And it looks like the way around that is you have some language in here about a variance.
Yep.
That's probably the simplest way to do it, rather than open that all up.
Right. Yeah, I had the opportunity of talking to Justin today too, and we did talk, specifically about that. We have a variance there, and it would go through the fire chief, and we would have to do like a special application, and then it would be, it would go down to the, it would go down to the police department after that, so they would be communicating with each other, that they would know what's going on.
Yeah, as long as it's not too complicated. I mean,
Yeah,
it could take 2 days to get a variance and 15 minutes to burn it off.
I actually think it said within 48 hours.
Well, that's 2 days.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we're open to ideas. This is,
Yeah, well, I know, I
know.
don't know a simpler way to do that. Call it a recreational fire, I guess.
Get the leaves off first.
Yeah.
that was one of the items that I brought up with the mayor, that there are certain cases, whether it's burning off a ditch, whether it's fire break control, whether it's a farm field, not that we have a ton of that in town, but there are some areas that are open to that, that I didn't want to just eliminate, just where, can you just go out and freely do it? No. All of Blackhawk County was out fighting a field fire, a couple days ago. So we just don't want it going all crazy, but there may be a time to where you would want to do that. So I didn't want to just say, nope, not at all, never. We still have some checks and balances to go out and say, oh yeah, we want to burn out that ditch. It'll probably actually help for when somebody flicks their cigarette and keep it down when it's dry, so it's better controlled, et cetera, et cetera. So I was a proponent of at least giving the ability to apply and have it surveyed and have a procedure behind things like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, my only concern is making it complicated, but I thought about it, and I don't know a simpler way other than the variance.
Right.
Maybe I should just cut it down, but, there's benefits to burning it off, and
Right, exactly.
Yeah. It was even discussed, okay, is it something that comes to the council for approval? And my thing back is it certainly can, but I didn't feel it needed to, just because we only meet every 2 weeks. So if it is something to where you're, fighting weather and it's a nice day and it's not windy and now is the best time to do it, yes, I didn't want to have it to where it's overly complicated, but I did want to have a little bit of a checks and balance. So that's what the fire chief's there for. That's what the fire department's there for. Like with any of our other departments, if we're gonna put department heads in place and not listen to their expertise or utilize their skills, what's the point? So I had, full faith in letting that position do what it's supposed to do.
May I ask, is that gonna allow the city?
Come on up, John, we ain't done seeing you yet.
We went over the rules, Kelly, before the meeting. Everything addressed to council and the mayor will be at the podium, so.
Okay, so does this allow the city to still burn?
Yes, actually, there is a provision in there for the city to still burn, because we have to. Otherwise, especially in a storm type situation,
They have to follow DNR
yeah,
regulations.
we have to follow DNR regulations for that.
That's kind of a raw deal, the citizens can't, the city will make just as much smoke as what the residents do when they burn.
Well,
too, so.
I disagree with you at our new location, because it's heavily protected
It's
by,
burning, same thing as the
but
individual.
it's heavily protected by a wooded area. There's,
It's about as far away from housing as you can get.
And to be honest, that's why we're talking about this. There's people for it and there's people against it. So, surely
Yeah.
that is an argument that has come up, so. Yep.
well, excuse me. We did have 102 people sign the petition to do away with open burning. Ms. Parker?
Sorry to interrupt you. It sounds like the council already made a decision to change the language in our ordinances. I don't think that was brought up at the last city council meeting for a vote. I would really like to see Ward 3 represented in this discussion before you go any further. I feel like we don't have a voice to speak up. Mr. Morris is not here tonight. I don't think that you should approve any language without Ward 3 being able to be represented in this discussion. Did you guys already vote on this?
No.
Okay,
Hey,
because you're
This is
going
a
ahead
ver-
to change
it's
the
a-
language.
It's an ordinance that we put together. We're discussing it right now at the table.
Okay, you're
Proposal-
going to vote on it
proposed
next time?
language.
Or the time after, or
We may
tonight?
pass the first reading. It'll depend on the council, if they choose to do so.
I feel really disappointed that Councilman Morris is not here to represent Ward 3 in this discussion.
I had a suggestion from one of my residents that some small towns will limit burning, say, just during the week only, not on weekends. I think the hope there is to kind of cut down on the concentration of burning sometimes, to spread it out a little bit more. I thought I'd bring that up.
as opposed to a ban.
Correct.
Yeah. And I'm for a ban, only because, as I've said any number of times, if people only knew how to burn, or burned responsibly, I don't think there'd be an issue, because there's not that much smoke when it's a nice, clean fire. But, like in my neighborhood, people let these fires burn for days, and it just hangs up there.
Yeah.
And my neighbors have health issues, and it's terrible. They can't go outside, can't open the window. And I've tried to talk to a few of my neighbors. They don't get it. So I don't know what else to do. You can't force them to responsibly burn. You put it in the newsletter, I believe.
Yeah, oh yeah, we were actually going through some newsletters today, and,
Yeah.
you know, that's exactly what we said. Do it responsibly, and, you know, don't let them get all rained on and everything like that. Put them in a huge pile, and the ones in the bottom are so wet, they'll never burn, or it's gonna take a week for them to burn. And I'm in total agreement with you there, Dick. When I moved here 15 years ago, completely shocked that you guys allowed burning. I was completely shocked. And it wasn't just burning, and that's another issue here. It wasn't just burning of leaves and yard waste. It was burning of whatever they wanted to burn. If it was cardboard, if it was junk mail, if it was toxic fumes coming in my yard from these burn piles. And it's, you know, Waterloo doesn't allow this. Cedar Falls doesn't allow that. There's tons of cities in this state that do not allow people to burn. I mean, it's very toxic.
Well, one of my neighbors was burning a couch, so,
Oh, God.
you know, that's kind of pushing it a little bit.
Were they shocked to find out that they can't do that?
They probably will be.
That's normally what we
Yeah,
get is, I can't
although
burn that, really?
It could be considered a recreational fire,
Yeah.
With enough alcohol.
yeah.
It's very telling how concentrated it can be, though, because last year I was driving from Waterloo to go home, and as I'm rounding the curve on Highway 20, there's just this haze over the town. It was a beautiful sunny day, and loads of people were burning. And it was just not a good thing to see.
And fires in
When-
Canada didn't help matters either.
Yeah.
Come up to the podium.
That just
whole
added
time.
to the problem.
When the whole piece, you know, we look at, okay, why are they burning it? I have tried to step back and truly say, because I'm kind of in the middle. I can't say that I'm for it. I'm not necessarily against it. I truly want the voice of where I will put my vote of, you know, what our city wants. But when I look at it and go, okay, why are they burning? Well, they're trying to get rid of the stuff. So we provide an option for them to take it down to the brush dump. And the argument or necessarily the counter to that is, well, I don't have a good way of getting it down there. So fair enough, some people don't, some people hire services, some people can't afford it. But okay, if I can't burn it, I still need to get rid of it. Composting isn't for me, whatever. The other thing I toyed around with is, do we have that cleanup day? You know, we have garage sales and then the following, a place for the city and a service that allows them to bring things that you normally can't put in your trash can. Do we put, whether it's a spring day and a fall day to catch up the winter and stuff, and it's a week, and again, it is something that we would be burdening our city crews with, but would that be something as an expense or something to offer to our citizens to say, hey, we can't come pick up things every weekend, but if we're gonna outlaw burning, we've got a great place for you to drop it off, and we're trying to make it as convenient as possible that here's the cleanup week in the spring, and here's the cleanup week in the fall. Put it out on your curb in proper bags, tied, whatever, and we'll come around and clean it up. Again, just spitballing ideas is something to
Yeah.
try to find a potential solution.
Specifically yard waste.
Yeah, your yard waste, not trash, but just that leaves and your mulch and grass things of trying to
We
get
could
those
probably
cleaned up.
contract with our garbage hauler, right way or whatever.
Yeah, and, you know, that would be something we'd have to get a quote for, obviously, but, you know, the one thing about that is, the landfill charges a lot of money. So if you put yard waste in your garbage cart, you know, they have cameras on the truck. They're not gonna pick up your, they're not gonna pick up your garbage cart.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking about taking it to the
Yeah.
landfill.
But that's what they would do. I mean, did you
Why
say
would-
right?
They could just take it to our dump and
Oh,
Cedar Falls has some mechanism for picking up.
okay.
It's
That'd
just,
be
it was an
something.
option again, if, the problem is, we want rid of this item, you know, whether it's grass clippings, leaves, that's the majority of what we
Right.
see. If we disallow burning, because the only reason that I feel that they would be burning is to just simply get rid of it, they're not out because that's the best way to roast marshmallows, or because they're trying to keep warm in the summer. Okay, how do we get rid of it? So by limiting one thing, is there a way we can give them an additional avenue? So again, just trying to figure out a way to best accommodate. We're never gonna accommodate everybody. So regardless of what this decision is of the council, it's gonna be a pretty split, you know, opinion to the city. But just trying to provide as many options and outlets to still give them opportunity to accomplish what they were in the end. And the end result is, I want this stuff gone. Just, again, I have no idea what the cost is, just trying to figure out what something could look like. So,
Yeah, I think actually someone was telling me about Cedar Falls. It's like $50 for the city to come and get the leaves. Well, that's prohibitive. I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of out of the question. And then putting it in bags seems kind of ridiculous. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, but that is the sticking point that I hear. What do we do with it?
to where, I mean, I might have a truck and a trailer and I easily can throw it in the back end and no big deal. Well, I know people that wanna borrow my truck and me all the time because they need something moved. So I know how that whole argument goes.
Well, you have a ravine in back of your house, so.
Be careful.
Well, and another option is to mulch the leaves. That's what I do.
Yep.
I mulch my
That's-
leaves, I mulch
As
my,
easy
I
as
don't,
riding riding
I
lawnmower.
don't pick up my grass, I don't,
Just put a mulching blade on there and
yep.
it helps. It won't, you're still gonna have some, but you
Yeah.
can cut it down by what?
Heavy enough. with those
3/4?
Big oak trees or maples or something, yeah, you're still going over it a few times. But yes, another option, you know, it's just,
It's really good for your grass, it's probably the best thing you could ever put on your grass.
Mayor, I'm opposed to the burn ban 100%. And I like some of the language to give it options for the citizens to burn. And then it comes up to another real question that we talked about last week about truck traffic. How are we gonna enforce it? I've seen things in the town that go on and there's no enforcement on it sometimes. They're not there. It's nobody's real initial fault. But if somebody is burning their leaves in their yard and they're in a semi-covered area, I don't see that it's a big deal. I think we got a lot of other issues in the town to worry about than worry about burn ban. I hope the council keeps open-minded to give some concession to it. I haul mine down there to the dump site when I don't like it, but it's the way you gotta get rid of it. So that's what I do. And my last thing to say is 100 people, we seem to do a lot of surveys. If 100 people said they didn't want a burn ban, I'd like to have us put a survey out there and see the town, not 100 people, what they say. If you got 1,000 that say, hey, I got no problem. I've talked to a lot of people and people say, I don't give a crap, burn or no burn, I don't care. So I think we need to give the option to the citizens, the tax-paying people in this town, to give them an option, whether we can or we can't, and if the majority rules and the council takes the decisions, hey, the majority, 100 people is not the majority of the town. So I think it needs to go a little farther. The dialogue that's going on is great, but I hope you keep it open and look at it a little further than just smashing it down and saying, you're not gonna do this. We're gonna enforce this down on you also. Thank you.
Jeff Bergman, 319 River Forest Road. I'm glad that this is the first reading. Good discussions. As with things that are kind of you're floating out options, have we considered one of those vacuum trailers that people take a little responsibility on their own, get it out to the curb, and then a day comes by that the city would vacuum that up? So that would give an option for those people that don't have trailers and the ability to get it down to the yard waste center themselves. Just throwing it out there.
Thank you, Jeff.
Shane Henniker, 422 Brookside Avenue. I think that the citizens have the right to do what they want to do. I hate to put any law down about anything, but at the same time, understand people with the breathing problems. I've inherited 8 yards that I take care of now. And I bag all the, not bag, but put it in my truck and take it down and get rid of it, the leaves. The biggest problem with doing that is you get so backed up down there that you can't get the stuff off your truck, you know? So that's something that we need to look at too. But I think that, I hate to put a law down about anything. That's freedom. That's why we're Americans. We want to do what we want to do. I don't mean to sound like I'm preaching.
I get
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah.
And I will state again to the council, I can appreciate that this was brought up to be officially on it, you know, whether this was listed for discussion or in kind of a first reading. I can appreciate that this is what it would look like of just kind of a first draft at it. That's more of what I'm looking at tonight. I came into tonight not ready to take action for or against a first reading, but really start this discussion because I knew exactly what that was going to bring up. And it opens up more avenues of, okay, this is the first draft, here's what we're kind of thinking. I do want more opinions, while 108, I believe it was 118, right?
102.
102, okay. Anyway, a very good, large chunk of people throughout the community that we all
Yeah.
had seen. You're exactly right, it's not everybody, and that's where I'm just curious, of the ones that want to see the change, took action, well, we're a republic, so therefore the ones that want to see no change, time to rear your voices. And if we don't hear from you, then the ones that we did are the ones that are gonna rule out. So I certainly wanna make sure we're getting the message out. I absolutely can agree with Mr. Siebel that this, in my opinion, isn't the greatest thing plaguing our city at the moment, but it is something that is very passionate amongst people. So I certainly don't want to feel that we push it aside or ignore it. That's just, there's my standing podium speech.
Absolutely. Yep.
So you're saying you'd like to see more discussion?
Yes, yep. I'm not ready to pass a first reading tonight, in my opinion, just because there's so many other little things that I'd like to figure out. I do feel if we just ramrod it through, you know, for lack of language, I want to make sure that it's out, you know, we want to put it in the newsletter that's coming out at the end of this month, social media posts. This was what I took, was just kind of to start the discussion, because now a few people, hopefully now we'll talk to other people, and I want to hear from them. I really do. That's what the council meetings are for. That's what our email addresses are for. That's what city hall's for, you know, if they want to mail a letter or something up. Because I truly do believe it's going to be pretty split. There are people that are absolutely for it and want to see it go away, and I absolutely understand where they're coming from. But I also understand others that feel they were being responsible, and it's always the, you know, we say it's the few that ruin it for the many. I gave the fire reports on how many burning complaints we got, and how many of those were legal burns and how many not. It's truly a tough call for me, it really is, I understand the health concerns, but I also understand the other side of it. That if it's your stuff on your property, again, I hope you're being a good neighbor, for sure, and working with those around you, but I'm gonna attribute this right back to fireworks. You know, you pull in
Yeah.
the 4th of July and we're worried about air quality, we allowed fireworks in the town. So does that need to be reassessed if we're worried about air quality and health? Truly. So, just other things, you know, I just wanna make sure we don't get into a slippery slope for any reason.
I'm in agreement. Well, I will take, you know, this is the first time to discuss it. Yeah.
Yeah, I would certainly move to table just in further discussion. Absolutely would love Mr. Morris's input and then more from the community. Absolutely have heard, and your voices have been heard that are against it. And I certainly want to hear more that are and more that aren't. Just, this is the time to do that. So I would motion just to table in light for some further research and discussion and
Yep.
fact-finding.
I'll second that.
Yeah, and just be looking on our website and on Facebook page. I think we'll conduct a Survey Monkey. To get that out there, hopefully then, you know, tell your friends, family, or whatever that, you know, this is happening. And we definitely want we definitely want to hear the public speak to this.
Can I say something? I definitely want to hear from people. If you don't tell me how you feel, then all I'm doing is voting for what I want. And that's not my job description. I've personally contacted quite a few households over the last couple of weeks. And as Justin said, it's pretty much split. There may be a slight leaning towards continuing to burn. But unless I feel my job as a council person, unless it's illegal or moral, to vote for what my ward members want. So I need to hear from them so I know what they want. I mean, I can only walk around to so many doors, After that, they kind of need to come to me. I mean, I'll do what they want.
I've been told you walked 25 miles to LaPorte City.
Who told you that?
I think it was Dick Dewater.
Do you believe
It
him?
wasn't the walking that bothered you. Okay, so, I'm just gonna do all in favor of tabling it until the next meeting, more information. Please reach out to your ward members, please reach out to your counselors. That's what they're there for, and they would love to hear from you.
Definitely.
So all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Excellent. Thank you so much for everybody that came up and stated their opinion. Thank you, council, for looking at this ordinance and giving great ideas. Number 26 is ordinance 702, amending collection of solid waste, first reading. This ordinance only covers, we also have a 96-gallon garbage cart available. It is $60 initially for the cost, because Environmental isn't supplying those, so we do have to pay for them. And there is additional cost per month, and that is what this ordinance is addressing, is the additional cost per month for the 96-gallon garbage cart is $2 per month. So that's all we changed in that ordinance.
So just to, I guess, simplify even for my brain here is, if I want, as a taxpayer, citizen, if I want the larger cart,
Yes,
I will be charged or paid for $2 a month.
that is correct.
Okay.
In the initial $60.
Yes, after the cart.
Yes,
Yep.
yep.
How do we make people aware that that's possible? I mean, we've
Well,
all
it's-
driven down the street on garbage day and people can't even get their lids closed, but
Yeah, and we'll address it too in the newsletter.
Great.
We'll have a citywide newsletter going out at the end of this month, as well as now monthly, we have the Evansdale Elk Run News, which is fabulous. We've got a lot of great response from that already. I'm real excited about that. And we're gonna have this type of stuff that, questions or concerns that we've heard, or some that have seen on Facebook or whatever. Sandy's even doing a corner of the newsletter stating, did you know? Did you know that, and she'll go through several different things every month, and that will be out the first of the month, every month.
Fortunately, this is a question that people don't hesitate to call City Hall and ask.
Yeah.
When they no longer can stuff any more garbage
Yeah,
in their smaller
yes.
cart. So they're either calling City Hall or they're calling the Waterworks. And the Waterworks explains it to all the new people moving in, their options.
I think it's, fair and appropriate to help kind of balance a little bit of the cost, but also put it on yourself, a little bit, and I'm hoping $2 isn't asking too much for people that most likely have larger families or, that are needing to go through the waste, so.
And it's a good opportunity to encourage people to recycle.
I was just-
And if they do that, they don't even need the 96.
Some people do still. Some people still do both.
You catch me around Christmas time, I'm begging for trash can space.
May I get a motion to approve ordinance 702 in its first reading, please?
So moved.
Second.
And roll call.
Weir,
Yes.
Smock,
Yes.
Clements.
Yes.
DeWater.
Yes.
Okay, number 27, request from Public Works Director to repair damaged garage door with Eagle Services in the amount of $1,510.84. This was actually approved at the last meeting. However, at the last minute, the Friday before that, we had taken it off. I just didn't get a new agenda showing it was taken off. So we needed to bring it on because it wasn't legal that we approved that.
Chris, you're okay with the lower bid? Okay. I make a motion then that, I guess we don't need a motion, do we?
Yes, ma'am?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. I make a motion that we accept the Eagles bid of $1,510.84 for the garage door.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Mayor and council reports. I don't really have anything specifically. I do know one thing, if you haven't got your Cityscape magazine from January, this is a little late, they're probably in your mailbox. You all have a mailbox. You can come in anytime and get your mail. But there was a really good article in there I would encourage you all to read because we're going to be discussing this going forward. And that is on page 12, effective council meetings. So I'll be bringing several things to you. We've never actually technically made any council rules, and the way there's a lot of cities that adopt that. Probably more cities that adopt it than don't. So, just kind of glance over that, and it's just saying, what's a good way to run a meeting? So, and keep it under control as well.
An efficient way to run it.
Yeah, and efficiently. Council?
Dick? Just wanted to thank everyone that came out. I did get a chance to see Sandy. Sounded like Dottie, you were able to stop by, but I was in and out all day too, to the Fire Association's chili supper this last Saturday down at the AMVets. It was not a record-breaking year by any means, but we knew that going into it. We always do when the weather turns like it does, and even if it's extra windy, you put 60, 70 degrees out there. Chili, just for some reason, isn't the big thing anymore. So while we like those, hey, we love to see the sunshine and be able to outside, we kind of hope for those 20-degree cloudy days, on chili supper. But still a great event, still a community event that even with the numbers down, we've seen in past years, even if we're just breaking even to kind of sit in, we have gotten massive blowback for even considering discontinuing the event. So it is very much a social, just kind of a to-do each year that is really expected. So the association has absolutely continued to do that. So just as their representative, obviously I have the microphone, so sorry I get a cheat card tonight, but we do appreciate the community's support for sure. And it was still a good turnout, it's still a good time.
And it was excellent as usual.
So perfect.
This is like the mayor council time of the agenda.
I just have a question for you before the meeting ends, if you
Okay.
can call me at that time.
Okay.
So that was it, all I had, so.
Anyone else? Go ahead, Ms. Parker.
I feel so sad that I missed the public hearing on the $6.5 million loan. Got held up late at work. I had a question. Since our road project is delayed, I was wondering why we needed to apply for this loan now. I hate to see the citizens have to pay a lot of interest, on the money when we can't do the project right away like we were planning on. So I'm just wondering why are we doing this loan now and not later when we actually are going to do the project and put it out for bid?
Thank you, Ms. Parker. We don't have to actually, this is just one step. First, we have to approve that we can even do it. That's all it is. We're approving that we can do it. We can definitely hold off the actual going to market and getting the loan. But this was already set in motion. you know, all the public hearings were already set. It's very costly, you know, to do these things, so we want to be as efficient as possible, but we can definitely delay going to market to get the loan.
Thanks for helping me understand that.
Yep. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?